Now this episode made my day so much better. Oh my god, this episode was good. Oh, this episode really gave me those romance feels, drama, depression at the same time. It gave me those emotions I love from anime, and I needed this episode. I needed this episode so much. So, what is with anime this week and their terrible cliffhangers? I mean, yes, cliffhangers are a must, but I mean, this entire week of anime has had some of the worst cliffhangers from this anime season. I mean, almost every single anime episode I've watched this week has some form of cliffhanger that literally just bitch slaps you. That's exactly what I've noticed. And so, this episode, as you guessed it, left on a cliffhanger. We see Princess Nike bleeding on the side of her face, trying to beat through this freaking wooden prison wall. She can't use her power, calling in rain, thunderstorms, wind, whatever, to get out of there, and she's trying to save Levius. So, it was a really good episode. All around, this episode had great execution. It built up the moment to when Levi was getting attacked by the grandma and everybody else of hypnosis and stuff like that. This episode was built up properly. The pacing, the character development, the atmosphere of it, everything was set up properly for that entire ending part of this episode. When you see Levius just open his eyes, about to be hypnotized, jumps out the fucking window, and then he has a confrontation with the grandma. That grandma. Wow, Princess Nike's grandma is scary. Did you see when she did that? Freaking sword just snaps it without doing nothing, and at the same time she calls in this giant ass thunderstorm, having freaking the swamp starting to sink, calls in freaking lightning all over the place. I mean, it just looks freaking insane, and she did not even sing. Princess Nike has to sing to be able to call in all this stuff, and you had this grandma not even do nothing. Just, she was controlling the freaking weather. Holy hell. So from this episode, we see the different points of views and politics are added in the mix of this episode. For one thing, we see that the grandma, even though what she's doing, it can be considered, I guess, a bad thing towards our main characters. Pretty much she looks like she's an evil villain. She's technically doing the righteous thing. She's worrying about Princess Nike, not just because that's her granddaughter, but because she is so strong. Princess Nike is so strong, she can control the heavens itself, pretty much the lightning and everything, probably more than the grandma, and she can literally just destroy battlefields and armies by herself. And so you have the grandma taking precaution, hoping that Levius is not an evil king, or his future generations will not be evil to destroy constant people in their warpath. I like the implications of politics in this episode. It was really good. I did not expect to see something like that in this episode, and it was displayed properly. It did not feel out of place. It did not go against Levius's character or the grandma's character, but it was an interesting plot twist nonetheless. So this episode had the great atmosphere about it that I love a Soredemo, and these episodes are getting better and better. It may not be my favorite anime of the season, and it may not be my favorite romance, but it definitely is a good series, and it's definitely above average series, and I love it for that. It definitely manages to keep me entertained from the start of the episode to the very end, and that's exactly what this episode did, and it makes me want to see the next episode this second. And so, if you have yet to watch Soredemo, or if you've yet to watch this episode, go give it a watch, because this series is freaking badass. I love you all so much. Please have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Be safe. Chibi out.